exposure of LGBT characters in popular media by the mid-1990s had influenced students to come out. It was no longer uncommon for teens to reveal their sexual identification. Students began petitioning their right to form gay, straight alliances clubs for queer-identified students and their friends. In 1995-1996, a signature battle was fought in Salt Lake City when school administrators attempted to ban such a club. The courts ruled that the Equal Access Act, which allows students to form a religious-oriented school club, also guaranteed the right to form GSA. By 2010, more than 4,000 such groups existed from one end to the US to the other. Despite the spread of GSA, bullying still happens in schools and neighborhoods. Many attempt suicide because of the difficulties they face. In 1998, the case of torture and murder of gay college student Matthew Shepard inspired mobilizations against intolerance, but in the 21st century, murders of gay men, lesbians, and transgender men and women continued. By the 21st century, studies showed that majority of Americans agreed that sex between consenting adults should not be criminalized, and sexual orientation should not be a factor in hiring decisions. In 2011, the administration of President Barack Obama lifted the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, removing the fear of service members that they might be discharged because of their sexual identity. In Islam, the famous story of Kaum Lut is related to this topic. They do shameful act of homosexuality that lead to Allah's punishment to them. Surah Ash-Shu'ara, verse 165 and 166, Prophet Lut said to his followers, "How can you lust for male of all creatures in the world and leave those who God has created for you as your mates? You are really going beyond all limits." Kaum Lut is very evil. Their main wrongdoing is committing sex with men. At that time, the sin is very unnatural, and it is called sodomy, named after the city of Sodom. Allah sent Lut to correct their sin, but Lut was threatened if he continued to preach them. After years, Prophet Lut alayhi salam continued to preach the evil people, but one of them said to him, "If what you were saying is true, then bring Allah's punishment to us," with an egoistic attitude. Allah had sent some punishment to the city and the people inside. First, earthquake that rocked the city down, then rain of stones that destroyed the city. No one survived except Prophet Lut and his two daughters that went out from the city with the advice of angels that sent by Allah the night before. The person who has feelings towards same gender might consider that as a test for them, which some might try to fight it, some might not. Humans also are influenced by Satan in every decision that they make in their life. They are struggling to balance their sexual attraction, identity, and religion. Homosexuality is a moral disorder. It is a moral disease and sin and a corruption. No man is born homosexual, just like no one is born a thief, a liar, or a murderer. People get these evil habits due to a lack of proper guidance and education. By B.A. Robinson, 2011. LGBT community crosses the limits of God's rule. Surah Al-A'raf verse 81, the meaning is, "You come to men lustfully instead of women. No, you are a people of crossed the limit," can be applied to these current situations. Prophet Muhammad SAW also said that doomed by God is who does what Lut's people did, in other words, homosexuality. In his last speech, farewell sermon, Prophet Muhammad SAW also disapproved homosexuality with the word of, "Whoever has intercourse with a woman and penetrates her rectum, or with a man, or with a boy, will appear on the last day stinking worse than a corpse. People will find him unbearable until he enters hellfire, and God will cancel all his good deeds." Stated in the Quran in Surah An-Nisa verse 15 and 16, Allah will punish people who did shameful acts including homosexuality if 4 witnesses have been found on them. In one of the articles, it shows that Iranian law that stated 2 unrelated men lying under the same bed cover will be punished with 60 lashes. Homosexual relation without anal penetration carries a penalty of 100 lashes, and anal intercourse will result in a death sentence by hanging. Human beings are born with emotions. It is a mental state that arises spontaneously rather than through conscious effort and is often accompanied by psychological change. It may or may not affect one's behavior in life. It is considered not a sin if no action has been made to fulfill the feelings of attraction to the same gender. But if the person acts upon his feelings, the person has committed such as shameful act and has sinned. According to ABDUL, in the book of 39, Hadith 4447, Prophet Muhammad SAW said, "If you find anyone doing as Lut's people did, kill the one who does it, and the one to whom it is done." Act of homosexuality also considered as zina in Islam. Therefore, verse 32 from Surah Al-Isra and verse 2 from Surah An-Nur are applicable to it. According to Dr. Zakir Naik in one of his speech, homosexuality is the main cause to many problems. Negotiating such shameful act will only lead to more serious problems in the society in the future. Every act in this world has its consequences in the hereafter, whether it is good or bad. Verse 41 Surah Yunus states that, "For me my deed, and for you your deed. You are not accountable for what I do, and I am not accountable for what you do."